Good afternoon and welcome to the Soul Shop. I'm your host, Phyllis King. I'm so honored and grateful that I can share with you today Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. He is a globally revered spiritual and humanitarian leader. He has spearheaded an unprecedented worldwide movement for a stress-free and violence-free society. He has touched an estimated 500 million people in 156 countries. He's developed unique and impactful programs that both empower, equip individuals to tackle challenges at a global, national, and community level. And he's a fascinating person in that he was gifted as a child, and we'll talk about some of that in the interview. But he has been, you'll want to visit his website because he's played vital roles in peace negotiations globally in Kashmir, Assam, Bihar, Colombia, Kosovo, Iraq, Syria. It's just remarkable what he's done for the planet and continues to offer. And he'll be talking about his tour he's doing right now, Stand for Peace. Really just an extraordinary human. And I'm just so grateful that I get to sit with him and I can share him with you. So here you go. This first question is actually for me and the rest will be for the magazine. But essentially, I'm very curious. I know that you were able to recite the Bhagavad Gita at 4. And so I just have to wonder, and you said the world was waiting for you. What does that feel like to be that person? Or do you even think about that at this point? And how did your family, how did your community, what is that experience like? And now that you've touched so many millions of people, my goodness, I don't know what that could even begin to feel like.
It felt very natural for me at that time. Whatever I said, I said it out of innocence. There was sheer innocence, and I would just say what comes to my mind, what I felt like. Of course, it was not being taken seriously by many.
Okay, well, let's dive into it. All right, there is so much insecurity in the world. There is so much feeling of not enough, and I'm not going to be okay. Is there a solution or a message or an idea we can digest to help us with that?
Exactly. This is exactly why I started this campaign. I stand for peace.
Yes.
You see, there is so much despondency in the society, total helplessness, because, what anyone can do when there is a war happening through someone's, someone so far away, you can't help, when that is affecting your health and you don't know what to do. Even big countries don't know what to do. In this situation, people feel even more depressed, and that too after 2 years of lockdown and pandemic, all that stuff. With fear and anxiety now on top of this, the war, there was so much sense of helplessness. And to get over this, that we too can do something, that is the main idea of coming up with I Stand for Peace. This brings out the commitment in people and encourages them to, rise above the helplessness. If each one feels that we can also spread the message of peace, then you are already on the track to recovery. Otherwise, it leads you into a sense of depression, more and more depression and all that, mental health issues. Yeah. So psychologically, this is moving their intention to the surface to make them feel that they are, their thoughts have more power. Yeah.
So at the I Stand for Peace tour, and I see that there's events, and you're on the West Coast, and you're going to San Francisco and back to Los Angeles and various places. Is it a rally? Is it a workshop? What happens at these events?
In the events, we gather and we discuss on the topic of peace and current situation, how we can handle the mental health crisis in the society, how we should help each other. And then I guide them through a small guided meditation at the end. And then we commit to take the message of peace and wellness to our neighbors and our society at large. Yeah.
Lovely. That's beautiful. And I know people can go to the website, which is Sri Sri Ravi Shankar.org, to find out where you will be. And you're in a lot of places, so there's a lot of opportunity to go to those events. So next question. Why do people have such wildly different points of view of right and wrong? And even with our most recent school shooting in the United States and Texas, people have vastly different viewpoints about what happened or what should be done. How can that be?
When you are polarized in your ideas and thoughts, you refuse to see the other person's point of view. And, there is a lot of disenchantment and distension in the society that comes up. And it is here we need peacemakers. We need people who bridge the gap, who bring the people together, of completely opposite ideology. It's okay to have different ideologies, different viewpoints, but there are some shared values we all possess. If we focus on that, life would become much, much better. That's what I strongly feel and believe. Yeah.
So if you were talking to 10-year-olds, given those are the ones who were most recent victims, if you were to talk to them in front of them today, what would you tell 10-year-old kids going to school?
We are already doing trauma relief to kids in Texas. We have already, on the very first day after the shooting, our team was into action. They have been talking to the families. They've been talking to the other kids, survivor kids, and then helping them through some trauma relief programs. And this we have been doing all over the world. As we are known for our trauma relief workshops, and it has helped a lot. Even in this program here, we have been doing for the nurses in the hospital as well as in the residences of the people. And they have been very grateful. I have got so many thanks letters from the families for the trauma relief program.
Yes, I'm sure. Can young children come to the I Stand for Peace?
Oh, yeah. Children do take part. Yes.
So, spiritually speaking, when a mass shooting occurs, is there a group agreement or some sort that makes it their time to pass as a collective? Is there some objective? And there's a curiosity of where are those souls now?
Well, this is not a natural departure of a soul. This is not a natural death. In all these unnatural death, whether accident or through the crime, though once the soul is out of the body, and our prayers do help the soul to find solace. And, it's a loss for both the parents and the society to see such crimes keep happening again and again. It's a blot on the society, I would say. So we must do all that we can to prevent such thing. And guns should not be available so easily to people, especially young people and people who are crazy, who are not mentally balanced. It should not be. There should be some criteria for people to be able to get access to the weapons.
Yes.
We have international laws as far as nuclear arsenal and nuclear technology is concerned. Why there are so many laws? Because we know it should not get into wrong hands. Same in a smaller scale will apply for guns too. See, this type of issue is not in many other countries in the world. Not even in South America, not in Canada so much, not in Europe, but here, I think we really need to take a look at the availability of weapons. It should not be used as toys. See, kids play video games. Sometimes they don't even don't understand that when in the virtual world you shoot and the person wakes up, but it doesn't happen in the real world.
Yes.
We need to sensitize our population about nonviolence, the importance of nonviolence.
Yes.
So I feel even if we spend 0.101% of our defense budget, our arms budget in promoting peace education, our society will be in a much better place.
So, how do we cultivate an inner peace when so much chaos is going on in the world?
Well, that is when it is most important. When everything is peaceful, inner peace is not a big, it has not so much relevance. Its relevance increases only when there is so much chaos to keep your sanity, you know. And that is necessary. And it is possible. That is why I made number of techniques. Put meditations in YouTube, guided meditations, guided breathing exercises help a lot. You see, sometimes you will say, I cannot meditate because I close my eyes, my mind is racing, but you are breathing, you see. And doing some breathing technique, you can do anytime, in whatever be the state of your mind. Through breathing technique, you can always, you can fall back on your breathing exercise to get back on track. Yes.
Well, and I know that you have developed, I know I have studied the Paramhansa Yogananda, so I know that there is Kriya that comes from that tradition, but you have your own form of Kriya that you developed. Is that correct?
Correct. This is called Sudarshan Kriya. We call it sky meditation, sky techniques, in which, you use the rhythms of the breath and get rid of all the tension, stress, and feel connected to your higher self.
And what is the biggest difference between typical meditation where we just calm ourselves down and separate from our thoughts and Kriya?
You have to do it in order to see the difference.
Okay, very good. So, and folks, if you're watching this, at the time you're watching this, there's so many videos from Sri Sri on YouTube that are so delightful and inspiring. And there are many meditation videos on there. So please go visit those if you want a deeper explanation of that. So now, why are we so afraid of death in general? Because we continue to live in some form, and reincarnation, as many of us believe that. But why are we so afraid of it?
That's a good question. The fear is always about extinction. See, any creature doesn't want to extinct, they want to exist. And so that threat, that fear continues there. But through meditation and through the experience of vastness of a consciousness, and knowing that, it is non-changing, it doesn't die, then this fear can be overcome. That's why people who do yoga and meditation, they have very less and less fear about death, Yeah.
And so why do we hold on to it?
Also, when people are in deep love, fear, love, and death, there's a triangle. If there is fear, there is no love, or there is no hatred. But when there is hatred, there are no fear. You see, the terrorists, they're not scared of anything. They have so much hate, the same energy is projected as hatred. On the other hand, when there is deep love in life and unconditioned love, once you experience such love, universal love, fear simply disappears in life. And meditation, service, social service, committing yourself for some greater cause, all this will help you to achieve that.
Very
Yeah.
good. And so why do we hold on to prejudice? Why do we do that?
Well, this is my question.
Oh, wait a second.
I keep asking people this question: why do you hold on to prejudice? You know, life is so short. See life from a broader perspective, in a broader, lens. So you see, the whole globe is one human family. We should recognize, perhaps, um, lack of awareness that the humanity is one family is what causes one to hold up in small little identities. You know, our basic identity must be that we are part of the universe and we are part of one light. Then you can say your gender identity, your religious identity, your racial identity, these things remain with you. But if these identities, lesser identities, overshadow your original identity, then you get into prejudice.
I see.
So we need to create the awareness of our true identity, that we are part of one human family. Then you will see all the prejudice just goes out of the window.
Yes. So we have become a globalized world. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
It is a very good thing, but there are some disadvantages also. You know, everything has the flip side of it. And here, though we are in globalized society, there is a lot of inequalities. When you see, in somewhere we have so much food that we throw them in the ocean, in other places there is starvation. And until and unless we address these inequalities in the society, in the world, our globalization will not be complete. Yeah.
Okay. So, and we are so connected to each other, and globalization has made that even more apparent, but we can still justify war. Will that ever end?
Now, see, war, I say, as the letter says, worst act of reason. So, so you need wisdom which transcends this apparent reasons. It's not really reasons. These are all, the war comes out of breaking down of trust, breakdown of communication, and perceived insecurity. Yeah. Three things that the world has to look into: the perception of insecurity, which causes one to, go towards war, and lack of the right type of communication, seeing life from a broader perspective. All this is essential to establish greater peace. Yeah.
Well, in Western world, there's a rise of atheism. Is it essential for us to believe in God? Can we still progress ourselves without that?
See, it depends on what concept of God you have in your mind. You see, if you think God is someone sitting up there and dictating what you should eat, what you should not eat, how you should behave, that is a very different thing which scientific people with scientific temper cannot digest, cannot accept that. But if we see there is an intelligence, a higher self, a higher form of consciousness, of which we are all part of, But nobody can deny that. So, whether you believe in God or not is your individual choice.
Okay.
But knowing that there is a higher power is something which is inevitable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the essence? Excuse
I
me.
make a distinction between believing and knowing. When you know, you are first, the belief is very strong. When you know, you don't. Let me put it this way: when you know something, you don't need to believe.
Yes.
When you believe, you don't make an effort to know it. You believe,
Yes.
so you keep going.
Yes. I understand. Okay, so do our emotions and thoughts create our life? And if so, how do we manage difficult emotions that are hard to face?
See, neither at home nor in school we are taught how to manage our emotions.
Mhm.
We are just given sermons. Go and don't do this, don't get angry, don't feel jealous, don't be greedy. But when these feelings come up in you, you are at loss. You don't know how to handle them. Nobody taught you. This is where I see that there is a connection between the breath and the emotions. You cannot directly handle your mind, but through breath, you can handle those emotions.
Mm.
And so you can be master of your emotions, master of your own mind. You can harness your negative emotions to something positive. This is all possible by your own, exercise, your own working on your own breath
Mhm.
and broadening your awareness, invoking your intuitive abilities. All this would help on to manage the emotions.
Well, you brought up intuitive abilities, which many Eden readers have, or think they have, or we think we have. Um, these are, everyone has them. Is that correct? It's our divine birthright.
Correct. Everybody has the intuitive ability. We simply don't use them, that's all.
Mhm.
We are not even aware of its existence.
Mhm.
Why? Because we are so stressed, we are so caught up in so many other things, we don't pay attention. And here again, when you free yourself from stress, and if you start meditating every day, it makes a tremendous impact on your intuitive ability. It sharpens your intellect, your perceptual ability becomes better. So also your expression. Yeah.
Mhm. Do you see the future?
I see the future is quite bright. Yeah, nothing to worry.
So what is going to happen in the new millennia? I mean, the past is the past. Is the future going to be like the past? Are we going to learn and grow or keep repeating the same mistakes?
A bit of both. There is a lot of growth, and there will be certain section of our planet or globe, certain people will keep repeating the same mistake. They'll take longer time to learn, I would guess. But you see, the younger generation, the millennials, they are not so consumeristic as we were before. They are more concerned about our planet. They're concerned about our climate change. They're concerned about the green revolution. They're concerned about proper food. They're concerned about, well-being and social harmony. There's a lot the younger generation are focused on. I mean, that's a very, very good thing you can see today. They're not as self-centered as the previous generation was. Probably I can say they're less self-centered in one way and maybe more isolated in another way. You see, because of the virtual world we are in, they're not as much in the real world, especially after the pandemic. People are trying to spend more time with their social media and their screens than interacting with people. That is one thing. On the other hand, I feel they have a broader outlook and arena of activity in society. Yes.
Mhm. Well, I very much enjoyed watching your video that came out this morning. It gave me a chuckle right away because the man in the audience said to you, "I can't seem to get away from my phone." And your reply was very simple. Do you recall what that was?
Yeah, I said don't charge it for a couple of days.
I love that. Very simple. We don't think of these things. Um, so if are there other places to live besides planet Earth?
I think we have a big, huge planet. We need to know a lot about this. It's a lot on our plate right now, and then we can think about that.
Okay. Um, are there points in your destiny that you feel are remarkable to your life and your experience?
I would say, I see every moment is so precious. Every moment is, and every individual whom I meet are very unique and very precious. So I find this entire globe is one organism, and scintillating with life. So I'm very passionate in saving the water, rejuvenating rivers, and if there is a world war, it could happen through water crisis. So we must see that we save the water sources and plant more trees. All these are very dear to me, these issues. And to see a violence-free society is my dream. Yeah.
Is this part of the Art of Living Foundation? What is all part of what goes on with the Art of Living Foundation?
Art of Living Foundation basically, disseminates the knowledge. We have 57 different types of workshops, right from prison to kindergarten, to business executive, to prisons, and to all sections of society, and trauma relief work, and then teaching people how to manage their emotions and feel good about themselves. All these wellness programs are there, and we teach this program. Many places we do it freely, and other places we keep a minimum charges to cover our expenses. And then we also do a lot of charitable work, schools in the third world countries, preschools, and all those other activities, Yeah.
Yes, it's really amazing and beautiful how many lives you've been able to touch on this planet and have some positive influence, and we're also grateful. And was this your vision, or are you moving forward from other people's vision? How did all of this come to be? How did this come to be?
Sometimes I do wonder, how did it all happen? But one thing I know, it's all through a very dedicated volunteer force throughout the world. We have, it's just a matter of kindling that spirit in everyone, which is already there to do service. So we have provided a platform. It's one of the largest volunteer-based organization in the world, where everyone takes their good time and finds their happiness in sharing with everyone else around them. Okay, so done? Are we done?
I think so. I think we just want to let everyone know again about I Stand for Peace tour, and people can see you in person and experience you. And I thank you so very much for your time. It's just been an absolute joy for me.
Wonderful, Phyllis. Thank you.
Hey, friends. I just felt like I needed to do a little add on after the interview because I can't exactly explain what it's like to be in Sri Sri's presence. But if you didn't get the full blast from the interview, it's hard for me to know how people receive things sometimes. I strongly encourage you to visit the YouTube channel because one of the things I said to him in the interview was how I had been in joy all week. Because when I listened to his wisdom and the way he explains just even the most serious life challenges, it was unbelievably uplifting. And the entire week, while I was doing all my research and getting up to speed on him in great detail, I felt like I had no problems. It just really elevated me in a way that I can only encourage you to experience for yourself. But it's quite an honor and quite a pleasure to dive into his information. And it's really quite useful in the day-to-day. So if you get a chance to see him, if you're somewhere in the States or I think he's going to South America as well, I just strongly encourage you to see him if you can. Just really remarkable. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Have a great day.